Item 12, ladies and gentlemen, deals with social media. We've included a detailed paper from the Financial Executives Research Foundation, and as members of the Audit Committee are aware, at each meeting we try and include in the papers that we circulate to members of the Audit Committee and all our attendees topical matters so that you keep in touch with what is, from a cutting edge point of view, aspects that you should be considering. For example, at the last meeting, you'll recall that we circulated a summary from the Black Swan, and we looked at those particular Black Swan type of risks. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we have social media and its associated risks. Can I thank the CEO and the CFO for circulating this? And members of the Audit Committee, do you have any issues that you want to raise on this paper that we have circulated? You happy? Mr. Naika, are you comfortable that we can include this into the combined assurance framework from a risk point of view going forward?
Sure, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other matters that any of you wish to raise, ladies and gentlemen?
Mr. Chair, if I may, at this point, I'd just like to extend my appreciation to the CFO and his team. I think they did an outstanding job in getting the audit work ready on time, meeting all deadlines, and I do believe that the quality of the work was good as well. And at the same time, I'd like to extend my appreciation to the external and internal auditors for their support and independent viewpoints which they've presented during the course of the year. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll minute it as such. Much appreciated on behalf of the Audit Committee. Item 13, ladies and gentlemen, requires us, at least on an annual basis, to have closed meetings with external auditors and to exclude management, with internal auditors to exclude management, and then to have a meeting with management. I want to give the assurance to the audience, ladies and gentlemen, that we have held pre-meetings with external audit, internal audit, and management, and the basis of transparency that we work at Transformation Limited, these individuals suggested that we communicate to the Audit Committee and to the audience that they have nothing, ladies and gentlemen, that they wish to discuss in committee that they will not discuss in an open forum. Mr. Patel, is that correct? Mr. Haxon, Mr. Creswell, Ms. Palmer? Good, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the date of the next meeting is the 15th of December, and I wish to thank the members of the Audit Committee. We did have certain aspects that Mr. Steve Gates raised that both Neo and Babelwa have articulated at this afternoon's meeting, and on behalf of the Audit Committee, to thank our risk manager, our internal audit manager, our external auditor, and the CEO and CFO for another successful year, and we'll bring this meeting to a close, and we'll engage with the audience on matters of particular concern to them. Thanks very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an open forum. Any question that you want to ask, we would be very happy. And in the audit committees that I work with, our company secretary, what she does at each audit committee, ladies and gentlemen, she brings a copy of the King Report, she brings a copy of the Companies Act, and she has a copy of the Public Finance Management Act and the Treasury Regulations. So on any occasion, if any member has any query, Ms. van der Merwe, being the principal at Itemba, she's a seasoned professional, she's in a position to give us an immediate response. So from a best practice point of view, we suggest that you do, as is the case in HEB, a particular practice to take these publications to the audit committee meetings that you are involved in.
There was a question, Len. Yeah, right in the middle.
Identify yourself and go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Oleboheng Temba, the CAE for the Department of Cooperative Governance Traditional Affairs in the Free State. Thank you very much for the insightful simulation of the Audit Committee. However, I do have two clarity-seeking questions. The first one relates to the proposal or the suggestion by the CAE to include in the plan HR issues. I'm not sure what is the basis for that motivation to. I would have thought perhaps an indication would be made on the risk exposure as far as that area is concerned. I'm not sure what would be the basis. Secondly, perhaps the indication of the financial implication in terms of the current capacity and in terms of the resources allocated from, budget-wise for the unit concerned. The second question relates to, I heard the chairperson commenting on the assessment of the financial director. I'm not sure, therefore, what would be the role of the CEO, and if the subcommittee finance exists, what is their role as well in terms of the assessment of the financial director? Thank you very much.
Good, thanks very much for the questions. I read Hebrew and we work backwards. So let's answer the second question first. The assessment of the CFO will take place in consultation with the CEO. So the CEO will certainly comment on the timeliness with which the budgets are prepared, the financial statements, the monthly management accounts. So the CFO's assessment and effectiveness is integral from an oversight point of view. But the audit committee, in the case of listed companies, we need to sign off on the competence. So that's the approach that we have adopted. And as far as your first question is concerned, looking at financial issues, the audit committee needs to confirm the integrity of the financial statements. So from a high-level point of view, when the CFO gives us a report back and provides us with feedback on the numbers, it's to give us comfort that there is sufficient headroom as far as the going concern is concerned, the declaration of the dividends, the bank covenants that should be in place, etc. So it's high level, but the detail takes place where the CFO does a separate presentation in terms of the agenda at the full board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson and the members. My questions are around best practice. You indicated a number of times about having pre-meetings. Is this considered best practice and something we should consider as audit committee members? And when you spoke of speed bumps, I found the meeting was flowing quite well, but is it because you've had that pre-meeting that there's just a flow and generally everyone is agreeing? So what type of speed bumps are we talking about? The second comment would be around your agenda. I noted with concern that the members did not declare their own interests. So I'd just like a comment on that.
Declaration of interest with respect is a matter that gets addressed at the board. And the members that serve on the audit committee in terms of the Companies Act are required to be non-executive, but in terms of the King report on corporate governance, need to be independent. So from a declaration of interest point of view, you'd be immediately conflicted, and therefore that obviates the need for us to have members of the audit committee having interests that would conflict with the activities of Transformation Limited. As far as the agenda is concerned, we've addressed that issue, and I'm going to ask my colleagues to answer the questions that follow yours. As far as speed bumps are concerned, what we have with internal audit is we have a steering committee. So we discuss this with management. You don't want to have a situation where you get to an audit committee meeting that is going to last 7 hours. I teach time management and how to run effective audit committees. If an audit committee, irrespective of the size, whether it's the Department of Cooperative Governance in the Free State, if it lasts longer than 2.5 hours, irrespective of the complexity of the business, there's something wrong with the reporting structures, something wrong with the CEO, something wrong from a pre-meeting point of view. So if we go through this, and then the tensions that arise, what I find is that sometimes the quality of the documentation or the completeness, if you go in cold, then you might find that tempers would flare and one would make comments that you would regret later on. So if you have the pre-meeting, you remove those particular speed bumps. And we recommend the pre-meetings that are held. One of the other best practices that I follow and I chair, as you'll note from my CV, a number of audit committees, I have a meeting with just the audit committee members. And the reason I have a meeting with the audit committee members after I've had a pre-meeting with all the parties is that we do not repeat ourselves at the audit committee. So I will ask Mr. Chris Hani's daughter, Neo Dongwana, I would ask her, what are the 5 issues that are important at this audit committee meeting today? Then I would ask Ms. Babawa Ngonyama, what are the 5? So that I could ask questions without repeating, and these individuals, so that we have a very focused meeting and then we manage the time. And what else we suggest from a best practice point of view is a post-meeting briefing. So I, as the chair, will have a cup of tea with Gerard, with Mitesh, and say, listen, you know, we didn't really challenge you at the audit committee, but we think that you should have tabled this report, or from the audit pack that's included here, you didn't give us a tracking register on where we are with the various items. So pre-meetings are absolutely essential if you want to have productive meetings. And the reason I tell you this is that in the state, you might have 20 people attending a meeting, and if it lasts 2.5 hours more than it should last, so you multiply that 50 hours, that's 6 days of wasted, unproductive time. So we really recommend seriously the holding of pre-meetings. But I'm not going to monopolize the conversation.